In episode number 345 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover DC Universe's digital comic editions.
It is also my favorite week of the month, and that is our previews catalog, and we go through the highlights.
And at the very end of our episode this week, we have a movie review of Dragon Ball Super Broly.
All of this and so much more on today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am your Emperor pal, Kelli.
And I am Gambler, Daniel.
Ooh, definitely are on cruise ships. So for those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. The way we format this is we're going to start out with some news. We go into our Patreon shoutouts. We have our Brocat block, which is what's new with us at the very, very end of the show. And then, of course, this week, our movie review is Broly.
Let's kick off today's episode, which is bound to be a longer one than normal, more content for you. Available through free DLC. Kingdom of Hearts 2.9 adds a new difficulty option called Critical Mode. You can download it right now.
This was announced via director and producer Tetsuya Nomura through the official Kingdom Hearts Twitter account.
While fans were upset at the mode missing at launch, this is hailed as the hardest mode installment in the series.
I only play on easy mode, so y'all have fun with your critical bullshit.
There's nothing wrong with easy mode. I know Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys said he went through his first run on easy because he just wanted the story.
You want to enjoy it.
And then on the second run, then he went on normal and started doing all kinds of different stuff, all the tasks. I went on normal straight up because I didn't want it to be too easy. Julian, who is hailed as the greatest Kingdom of Hearts player in the world, we always joke, but it's also true, that the Kingdom of Hearts development team saw his gameplay, his expert level gameplay, and they tried to match it so that it would be a challenge for him in critical mode. And I think that's what they're betting on this week. So we got some other gamblers too with the developers. And I'm curious to see if Julian can do a playthrough of critical mode and see if it's even a challenge to the greatest Kingdom of Hearts player of all time.
Critical, okay, so you know the very beginning of the game where they ask you to choose between like 2 or 3 things?
The defense, attack, or magic.
All that kind of stuff. That would be too hard for me on critical mode.
It would make all the difference.
It's not for me, guys. Enjoy. I'm glad that it's free DLC. And the people who are like, why wasn't this here in the beginning? Like, at least you got it now, right? So,
well, the game wasn't meant to come out for another 18,000 years. So that's one of the reasons why certain things are missing from this, including, I heard, 3 different stages and worlds, which you will get as DLC eventually, I'm sure. You had mentioned earlier that we are going to review the Broly movie.
Yeah.
Well, one of the voice actors, Vic Mignogna, who's known recently for voicing Broly, not only in this film, but also in previous Dragon Ball Broly films, has filed a lawsuit against Funimation and other actors last Thursday claiming defamation of character.
Ooh. So Vic's claim states that he's suing for interference in other work contract for false sexual harassment accusations. So most of these came from fans and from other actors that he worked with as well. So this includes Funimation's previous cut on all the work Vic had after the allegation. So they cut him from everything. He's not even credited in the Broly movie anymore.
That's what's fucked up about it. Like, that is where you actually take someone's name out of a finished product. I get it. If you want to take off the special features where he is interviewed for playing Broly, whatever it may be, sure. Cutting him out entirely, that's the standard for companies right now.
It's not okay.
It's kind of fucked up because it's guilty until proven innocent for a lot of these things. They rather not be involved in these things. Whereas the difference between this and Pedal Perv James Gunn is Pedal Perv James Gunn had hundreds of tweets as recent as 7 years ago that were very alarming, plus his connection to Houston Huddleston, which all of you now know about if you didn't before. But Vic wasn't even that deep at all in this before Funimation cut all ties, removed him from the credits, which I was telling Scott, I think that's grounds for suing on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what kind of contracts they have where they say maybe they don't have to credit you for some of these things. I don't think that's true. I think there is grounds to actually sue for that. But I'm not a lawyer. However, he is suing for something else, which is the cost of work. Especially since these allegations, there hasn't been anything concrete. There hasn't been any kind of evidence for sexting. There hasn't been any kind of nudie photo evidence or any of that. A lot of it has been girls that were like, you know what? I did feel uncomfortable 4 years ago. And that's why I was smiling kind of weirdly in that photo, because he had his hand around my waist. And as congoers, you and I have seen Vic's line. It is nothing but teenage girls and 20-year-old girls that are there because they not only do they love his anime work, but they think he's a handsome guy. Like, that's a part of the thing. And he's not a bad-looking dude. And that is, I think, right now.
Okay. No, you still showed me his picture, and I was like,
I always thought he was gay, honestly. Like,
he does kind of
know.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
So, actually, if you are, that can be... hire me as your secondary lawyer, and I can be like, Your Honor, I always thought he was gay.
You were going to tell him hire you as his, like, gay boyfriend.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I was like, this went to a weird place, Daniel, real fast. I get that you want to help the guy, but...
So that's my thing, and I'm going, no, you're an anime girl. Like, everyone's kind of... And all nerds are weirdly socially uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, most of them are.
All the time.
So, yeah, you're going to be weird around them. Like,
most people are weirdly socially uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's true. It's not just nerds. But it's more clear that they're weirder.
Right.
You know? So, a lot of these things started coming out, these voice actors, and there are actually screenshots of these particular voice actors that Vic is suing. And they're saying we finally got him. So it seems like there is evidence of... He has enough evidence through these tweets and these private messages of him going, they planned to, for years probably, take me down. Because from what I heard, he's kind of an asshole. But that's not grounds to try to find things to get him fired.
Right. Well, even that, like, to ruin his name for the rest of his life, right? And then potentially cause something so harming that he could go to jail.
Yes.
Potentially, right? That's never okay. Why? I can't with people.
And the fact that by now we haven't seen any kind of concrete craziness, again, much less than what we've gotten in the past from people like pedoperv James Gunn, that gives him the right to say, hold on a fucking second, hell no, now it's my fucking turn. And if the judge does rule in favor of Vic, I think that's going to be a pretty big win for voice actors, not just people that are accused of certain things that may or may not be true, but for voice actors in general. People that may think about going after a certain guy because of whatever allegations might think twice after this particular case is solved.
He is seeking $1 million in addition to other things that may be entitled.
Other relief, exactly. So $1 million is the minimum. He's going to also sue for the contracts, the work that he would have gotten that is now gone, whatever that monetary value would be, whatever the monetary value would be from residuals of those DVD sales, those TV shows. You can go, it's going to be way more than $1 million.
Easy. And then he's probably going to give you more contracts and make even more money.
He's still doing the con circuit, which is good. He hasn't been removed for all of them, because again, there's no concrete stuff. And there are still fans that are a part of his club. From what I've seen is that the worst I've seen is that he meets certain fans that he sees at the convention and maybe he runs into them in the hotel lobbies and he asks them for their phone number. And when he does, he talks to them for a little bit and then he invites them to his private paid club. So if you want to be a part of the Vic Mignola Club, It's going to cost you money, but he's also sweetened you up and kind of talked you up. Now you're paying to be in this club where you can only talk to him, along with the other girls that also paid to talk to him.
Of course.
Even that's it's dubious, but you fell for it. You thought you were going to get one-on-one with Vic.
Right. And now you're just with all these other ladies, but you have his phone number now, so
that's right.
There's that.
I'm sure that's his only phone,
I'm sure. It's not a burner phone, I promise.
Is that what they're called? Burner phones?
Yeah.
Nice. So some of the accusing attendees are underage, which is what they tried to use as well as a major factor for this harassment. But again, even the convention photos, they're like, look, he's he has his arm around their waist. He has it around their shoulders. One of them, he's kind of peeking behind one, and they're like, I don't know. It was weird that he was behind me. So it's, again, still very dubious, kind of like, I don't know. And these Twitter posts, as we mentioned earlier, are all being used as evidence. And to be clear, in favor of Vic. So he's pulling these things.
Vic did write a tweet, quote, I would also like to sincerely apologize to anyone who ever felt my interaction with them, a hug or a kiss on the cheek or forehead, was crossing a line. Never in a million years would it be my intent to make anyone feel uncomfortable, end quote.
This has also spurred a lot of voice actors who have been like, this is why I never touch any fans. I never kiss them. I never hug them. I never do any of that. And I think that this is going to be a major change for Vic as well, in the way that maybe he handles himself at conventions, because we are at that time now. He's been doing the con circuit for years. And from the beginning, I'm sure this was all fine, doing the hugs, the kisses, whatever. But that has now changed in these recent years because there's a lot of hypersensitivity around your actions. So I even see it when I interact with customers. If I say something, I'm like, oh, I guess that crossed the line. And me saying that I didn't like a certain comic or a certain movie or whatever, people are definitely very sensitive to what people say and how people act and what they say, where they start to kind of interpret things that aren't really there. So because of that, I think Vic should probably, moving forward at the conventions, maybe change some of that. But is there a way to protect yourself from, like, hey, can I get a hug? Like, can you really ever do that? Or does he have to do convention photos now with his hands behind his back?
He can't even do that because then people go, where are his hands?
He's touching his asshole, diddling himself.
You know, it's so unfortunate that this happened because, yeah,
I'm like, he might be.
But he is going to have to completely change, and that really, I think, removes some of the sincerity that you see when you meet these celebrities, right? These voice actors or actors. My best memories, right, is meeting Dougie Jones. And when he met me, he put both his hands on my shoulders. And for me, that was so sincere and really brought him down to a personal level with me, because I was like, oh, he's just a normal person, right? He wasn't just behind his table. He came around and he had that interaction with me. Just the sweetest guy. And I love Dougie Jones even more forever. But now you're telling people they can't do that, right? So now there's always going to be a table barrier between him and his fans. Mm-hmm. And now maybe his line's not going to be as long because somebody's going to say, oh, I met him once and he was just an asshole. He sat behind his table. That's what it becomes.
And now he's losing money on that too.
And now he's losing money and he's losing a fan base, and his reputation is ruined, not because, oh, he touched me inappropriately, but because he's an asshole now. And that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think that is his game too, because clearly, if you've seen the pictures, he does spend a lot of money and care and attention to actually upholding his appearance, no matter how old he may be. And for every one of those pictures, he is charging for the autographs. And if he doesn't, again, work up that charm, he's gonna lose these fans. He's gonna cut down on these lines, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's just like, hey, sorry, man, that these are the times and you got to let it go. Or a lot of his fans are coming out in his defense and going, no, he's a good guy, just like you did with Dougie Jones. Imagine if someone went after Dougie. You and I would be like, fuck you guys. Dougie Jones is the greatest.
That person wouldn't be around much longer. Coming after
at the conventions, right?
Yeah. Coming after my Dougie Jones.
Hashtag I stand with Vic.
Oh, I was going to say I stand with Dougie, but
we always stand. That's you don't even need to say that. To appease a couple of the MCU sheep that we do have listening on the show, thank you so much. Disney CEO Robert Iger took to Twitter to give his Avengers Endgame movie score. Ooh.
From @Robert Iger, we get, quote, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 25, end quote.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you, I thought for a hot second that he was super fucking clever and he was putting the number of the Marvel movie that it is, because they're up in the 22, this is the 23rd or whatever, something like that. And I was like, wow, Bob Iger, that was clever. But no, it's not the right number. He was just over-exaggerating.
I still don't know how they still haven't taken his Twitter away, after the whole thing of, we need 17 cruise ships for Captain Marvel and 18 attractions for Captain Marvel.
Because
he's not a good hype man.
Whoever runs his Twitter has seen Trump's Twitter and said, just put out craziness.
Well, there are connections between the Disney company and Trump with some money. So
supposedly Bob Iger's retiring in like 2 years. So
well, go all out. Fuck
yeah,
it.
right? Do what you want. We'll forget about you soon.
Over to the DC side of things. After the addition of thousands of comics in the last couple of weeks, the DC Universe streaming service has announced its full availability of DC digital comic books. There's a lot of D's in there. Is Watchmen available?
There's a lot of D's in there too. Because of the blue dick. You got it. Yes. making sure we're on the same page.
I led you to water there, Kelly. I'm glad you picked it up.
Water is also blue.
And who else resides in water? The Swamp Thing. And he's got a green one.
How do we know? We haven't seen it. Maybe it's still, maybe it's a stick. I mean, you think about it. If he's going to have one, make it a stick instead of some leaves.
I guess so. I don't know.
Back to the DC universe.
It's hard all the time, right?
Would be if it was a stick. I'm okay.
And you say guys laugh at dick jokes.
I'm okay. DC Universe app now has 21,000 single issues of comic books.
And this is over the last 80 years. You search Superman Red Son, that shit is on there.
Yes.
Recent issues published 12 months after its physical release are now available moving forward as well. So yes, DC Rebirth's line of comic books is on there. And I have had a couple of people, not only on Twitter, but also in the store, ask me how I feel as a comic shop manager about the addition of so many DC comic books in the DC Universe app, as just like as when they first came to be as a digital market. I'm for it. Because the digital market for comic books has actually helped comic book shops, as people are now reading way more comic books. It's getting more eyeballs on these characters. And that, as a result, leads to not less people going to the comic shop, but more people going into the stores. You have a lot of buyers that enjoy these comics, and they want to then own for collectability their favorite issues of those particular series. There are people that read up to that 12-month limit and go, hey, I want more of this. Can I pick up from issue 14? Yes, we got them right here. There are a lot of people who then fall in love with a character based on books that are, many years old that comic shops can't get anymore. And they're like, hey, I love this old Shazam, this old Captain Marvel comic book. What do you have now? Here you go, Jeff Johns. It's all good for comic shops and the market in general.
100% everything that you just touched on was something that me and my comic shop knowledge, right? but no, I mean, I agree. You're just opening up the market for more people to enjoy these characters and these stories, and exactly like you said, bringing them into the store to buy those issues that they really enjoyed.
I do love that it is a 12-month limit on the after the time of a physical release. So I think that is very much respecting the comic shop. As far as what you have, even if it were maybe half a year, I'd be okay with it too. 12 months is very generous, and I definitely appreciate it. This also makes the DC Universe streaming service $2 cheaper than Marvel Unlimited, which is their equivalent of the digital comic world. And that's an awesome deal, because then you also get original shows like Swamp Thing.
Does Marvel Unlimited have 1 million variants too?
Those are extra.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You could only unlock X amount of digital variants. But you have to order up on your subscription. It's such bullshit. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened, honestly.
Right?
I'd be like, yeah, all right.
And then Bob Iger can tweet about it.
And somehow comic shops also get charged for it. It's like, motherfuckers.
So DC Universe is available today, currently at $7.99 per month, or you can pay $74.99 for the year. That makes it a little bit cheaper.
Because I know Innsmouth_Tide, longtime Brokehead, is going to perk up right now, very much like Swamp Thing's stick. DC Universe has released its first proper teaser trailer for Swamp Thing, more than the actual character reveal,
Cool.
but now we have a full trailer.
This is some spooky ass shit.
It is really going into the James Wan roots of horror films, and now with this horror property, was that the red, as you pointed out, is that the red that is in the trailer?
I'm pretty sure it's the red because the girl's bleeding from her nose, right? And then you see corpses getting reanimated.
Yes.
Spoilers, sorry guys.
Oh, that could be the rot. That's the rot, because Animal Man was the red.
Okay, that's right. But there was also the red. So there was the green and the red and the rot. So I think they're all... I mean, I'm sure we're going to see the red somewhere in there too. But yes, definitely the rot. Spooky. Oh my god, I'm so scared. I can't watch this show. You're going to have to watch it without me.
Animal Man better show up in this shit.
But that little girl looks so much like Animal Man's daughter.
It could be.
The blonde girl.
It could be. Like, I've seen a lot of people point out to a Blue Devil Easter egg. I think it's more likely that we'll see Animal Man and his family. If anything, the New 52 Swamp Thing was excellent.
Yeah, that was.
Really, really
great.
good, but they are obviously pulling a lot from Alan Moore's story as well. I don't know, Innsmouth, let me know what you think. He has read way more Swamp Thing than Palpa, Kelly, and I.
The Swamp Thing expert.
That's right, he is. This is why he's Tangela on the Discord Lounge.
Oh.
That is the Pokemon for Swamp Thing. And honestly, what do you think about the horror take on the series? Is that what you expected?
That was not what I expected, but it's a really smart way to go because that's what people are really into right now. Like, you got Sabrina, right? Sabrina's getting great reviews, but it's very dark in that same kind of way that this appears to be. But then you also have James Wan's name tied to it, and that's what he's really known for. So you got his name tied to it. You're going to want some feedback on what's a way that we can take it. Obviously, he's going to be a great guy to pull some of that information from. But, some of the best Swamp Thing stories we've read, like you said, involve the rot, which is terrifying. The idea of things coming back to life, right? But being all fucked up and gross and
Dead Spacey.
Twisted and, yes, exactly, Dead Spacey. So, I think the direction that they're going is a very way to go, and it leaves a lot of room to tell a really good story.
It also adds to the variety of products that they now have on the DC Universe app. I'm glad that and I know they're completely different divisions, so they wouldn't be affected anyway, but I'm glad that the direction that the films are taking with the comic books are not affected by what's happening on the streaming service. This is instead more the Netflix model, where they are having these TVMA products that they know are not going to be affected by, well, if we have a G, that'll get more. No, it's not. People that are signed on to DC Universe, I want to see the age demographics. I guarantee you, most of them are over 18.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no parent is like, here, let me get you this DC Universe app. Because even like you pointed out, Batman the Animated Series is not for children, right? That's a very intense show as well. So, yeah, no, it's definitely, I would say, like mid-20s and up is probably what you mostly get through that app.
Because you do get some of I think the most comedic show is Doom Patrol out of all of them.
But that's still not a
and
good
even
show.
That, right. Well, I'm saying like they're still hitting that mark a little bit.
Right.
Teen Titans is more superhero-y, but also more grounded and Netflix-y, but this is straight up horror.
That's what it looks like. And talking about Doom Patrol, right, on my Facebook, I have heard nothing but great things about this show, right? Because so everybody's like, oh, I just started watching this. And all the comments are like, it's going to hit you right in the feels. And it's a great show. And cried through the first episode, right? So the reviews that I have seen through people on my Facebook have been very positive.
You got a slight peek at Swamp Thing. Still no confirmation of the leaf abs.
I gave you confirmation of the leaf abs. They're there.
I don't see them. Are they under? I don't quite...
leaf abs and there's a stick dick. The stick dick we'll never see, but there are leaf abs.
It'd always be slightly covered.
Yes, so you never really know. But the leaf abs are there, I promise you.
Swamp Thing is set to release on May 31st. So close. So close.
Almost there, guys. Some news I was not expecting, but I'm crying now because I'm so happy. This is great news. Constantine's official Facebook page posted an image of John Constantine with the text, "What's on the way?"
Oh, and they gave us no more information aside from that. So there's going to be one of two things. Is it going to be season 2 of Constantine?
Yes.
Or his further inclusion in DC's Legends of Tomorrow?
Who cares?
He's the best part of that show now, though.
Yeah, but I don't even watch that show because the show is so horrible that John Constantine does not even
It's not a terrible show, but those Constantine episodes have not yet hit Netflix. So once they do, though, we're going to watch them. Anytime he's in there, it's like, holy shit, like just... Can he just lead the team and they can just not be on everything? The team?
Can he go fight that angel man who's really a bad guy? Because
But Kelli, he has this time machine. Yeah, fine, he has a time machine, whatever.
Constantine with a time machine. That's the name of the fucking show.
The time machine can now convert into a car. It's going to stay in the car as for forever now. So he drives a car.
And just in the present time. With demons.
Not present, but whenever season 1 ended, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. We'll just continue from there. Like, he'll go back in time to that point, and we'll just continue. And it'll be like he never knew he was in the future. He's just here now. It's part of whatever they're trying to solve.
Has the Save Constantine movement faded away? Like, we haven't talked about it.
We haven't. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of reached that point where I feel like all hope is lost, right? But maybe now with this DC app, then they feel like they can pick it up and keep moving. It was a great show.
I don't know what's going on with Supernatural, but I guess it has ended or it is ending. But people are saying, well, now they have a slot to fill on that same type of genre. So why don't you do a Constantine season 2?
They absolutely should. You know how great that would be? Because I'm getting all my favorite shows back. Like Lucifer season, whatever the hell they're on. That's about to show up on Netflix. The beginning of May. It's like the first week of May. We're going to get the continuation of Lucifer. Younger is coming back in June. Something else is coming back in May. I don't remember what it was.
Young Justice came back.
Young Justice we haven't finished it, but it's back. It would make me so happy. Now they just need Green Lantern, the animated series, to come back.
That's the one that I've still been really hoping for. Probably not going to happen, but that is a great one. And this is still great news that we're getting more Constantine content. Whatever it may be, there is more coming. And good on everyone that is a Constantine fan, at least for the TV show. Can you believe that you're a Constantine TV show fan?
Only in the TV show. He's a lame ass in the comics.
Unless they somehow make it in continuity where they pull the TV version into the comics.
Yeah, but it would still have to be the guy and look like the guy. And
I still want it to be Sting himself as Constantine. I know it's based on him, but just have the singer be in there, do an exorcist
spells. They could do an alternate reality episode where he's in there.
Well, what really got me happy too is when he was promoting that omnibus or whatever for DC Comics, and he was dressed as Constantine. I'm like, can you just keep that look? Why don't we do a little web series? It'd be fun. What else is Sting doing? I know he's doing some albums probably, but get him on a fucking show. I don't care if he's not an actor. That's the closest to pure Constantine that you will get.
Ever gonna get.
And have Alan Moore write it. Just have it happen.
I still wouldn't read it because it wouldn't be TV show Constantine.
You might like it, though.
No. I already
What if
know.
he sings Desert Rain?
No.
You thought about it, though.
I did think about it.
It might work. Just the fact that you thought about it, it might work.
I only want to see him sing Desert Rain and then go, why is Constantine singing Desert Rain?
That is it for our news, but I do actually want to ask you one more thing, because I asked you in person, but I haven't recorded, but there was a new Godzilla trailer. We didn't watch it, but there was a GIF that went up of Godzilla trying to atomic blast King Ghidorah, Monster Zero. There's no bad shot of this film yet. Everything is perfect. You see all the monster shots and everything. It's I can't improve this. This is an amazing production of a monster flick. And fucking Godzilla rears back. He's not going to get close to fucking King Ghidorah. Rightfully so, right? He's like, fucking atomic blast your ass.
What sound does he make? You gotta make the atomic blast.
And King Ghidorah fucking splits his head. Not only does he split his two heads, or his three heads.
He moved his heads to the side.
Moves his heads, but he also looks at the blast fucking bitch. But as he's doing that, he's also charging. You done wrong. You fucked up, man. And then he fucking shoots the 3 back at Godzilla's fucking ass. And this is why, and this is what I'm tweeting. This is why my man Kong, the king of monsters, King Kong, is going to beat Godzilla's ass because Godzilla's dumbass is aiming for the 3 heads that can move easily instead of his fucking body or wings.
Okay, so
Dumb shit like that is going to make him lose against the king.
I have a theory. Are you ready for my theory?
I love your theories. Because they're right.
I have the best theories, right? So the reason...
These are also spoilers, by the way.
The reason that Monster Zero is so much better at fighting than Godzilla is because Monster Zero comes from a planet where he had to beat all these motherfucking monsters.
Man.
So he's
Jesus
been fighting
Christ.
monsters for years and Godzilla hasn't. So Godzilla's got to learn and adapt. So he's going to get his ass kicked for the first half of the movie. Then he's going to come back stronger because he's motherfucking Godzilla.
Do you think he's going to go into, what's that, like that red form?
Yes.
It's going to happen, right? It's got to happen.
Do you know why?
Because he's going to go all out. He's going to go beyond, just like All Might.
Well, no. You want to know how I know, like, for reals?
Really, how?
Because there's a toy of it in the previews catalog.
I fucking told you guys spoilers were going to happen.
And I don't know. Maybe they just made the toy, but I feel like
I doubt it, yeah.
made the toy.
That's incredible. There's another GIF I haven't shown you yet, but they get close to each other. And I think that's the scene where they're...
Are they going to kiss?
Well, no, Godzilla, what he does is he swings with his claw, which we didn't really see in the last movie. What he did is he held those fucking mutos open and fucking blasted into their... It was fucking badass. In this, he fucking tries to claw and grab onto King Ghidorah. With its left head, it bites onto his fucking hand. His middle head grabs onto Godzilla's fucking neck, and the third one, like, pins him down to the fucking ground. That's how fucking strong this guy is. And he's so much bigger than Godzilla, too.
Yeah.
Like, he just
and
fucking manhandles.
Monsters on his planet.
He manhandles fucking Godzilla.
Yeah.
You're clearly rooting for Monster Zero.
Listen, I love me Godzilla, and I love me Monster Zero, and I wish they could just be friends. But, you know, at the end of the day, whoever wins, I'm happy, as long as it's not... fucking King Caesar or dumbass Roseanne or weirdo Mothra.
Okay, well, can Godzilla lose and then King Kong come in and save him? Yes, that can happen. Who would you root for then?
Godzilla.
No. Godzilla. No.
Monster Zero.
Bullshit.
I would root for Rodan over King Kong.
That's bullshit.
That's what I would do.
You hate Rodan. Okay, so who would you root for, Rodan or Mothra?
Mothra.
All right. And now I know you're not lying. Because everyone would root for fucking... No one likes Rodan.
I like Rodan more than King Kong.
That's bullshit.
I fucking hate King
King
Kong.
Kong's fucking... Look how kind he was in that King Kong movie.
No. Don't like him.
He took on squids and shit.
Don't like him.
And the Cubones.
I just told you I don't like him.
King Caesar or Rodan?
Rodan.
That's also bullshit.
No,
now I know
I
you're
hate
fucking
Caesar.
Lying. There's no... You have 0 reasons to dislike
He's
Caesar.
so ugly. And then you gotta wake him up by going, Caesar, 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 Caesar.
So we're gonna see supposedly maybe 15 monsters in this. Will King
17.
Caesar... Is it 17?
Yes.
Will we see any hints of King Caesar?
Yes.
The Facebook page has like hinted at it.
Yes. You'll see King Caesar.
Are you sure that's not them just appeasing the 2 Caesar fans?
You and yourself?
There's a sub I talked to, and he also loves King Caesar.
The 2 of you. You know, your nod to King Caesar will probably be his song playing on the radio.
You don't think
and
you'll see
I'm
a statue?
gonna laugh my ass off if it's his song playing on the radio.
Everything you guess ends up being right, so I don't know why I'm getting upset, because I should just accept everything you're saying. And I swear to God, if King Ghidorah has been kicking fucking ass for years, that's amazing.
You should have been accepting everything I've been saying for the last 11 years, so I don't know why it's taking you till now. Yes, how great is it going to be if he's like, he's from another planet where he fought all these monsters, and that's why he's a badass. Oh my God, mind blown. I'm just going to look at you in the theater like...
And I know we've seen King Ghidorah do crazy good shit with the 3 heads, but like actually pinning like straight up like UFC style is incredible. Like we're seeing new shit in these American-made Godzilla films that is absolutely incredible. Like my 2 most anticipated films this year, Godzilla King of the Monster and the Joker film. They both look like perfect movies, and I cannot wait to be in the theaters, sitting there watching. There will probably be tears at both of them.
You're forgetting one very important movie.
Detective Pikachu?
Yes, with your perfect Bulbasaurs.
Yeah, and that's great. But if it were Detective Bulbasaur, then it would be like right on there, like in the same level.
He would be such a badass with a little hat on.
Yes.
Bulbasaur.
You do a great Bulbasaur impression, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate
now
that.
Do the Game Boy version. Perfect. Also, great. All right, so let's head on over into our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week we have 7 shout outs. The first one goes out to Elizabeth, whose Twitter handle is @eplifts.
At EP Lifts. Ends up being, I should probably capitalize them, but they're her initials. She's tweeted out, quote, "Laughed so hard I snorted a couple of times reading Batman. The husband, what is going on? Me, remembering my youth. Thanks at Tom King TK. It was a fun read until it made me sad. Damn you for making me feel all the feels." End quote. This is the one where the Batman issue where Lois Lane and Selena Kyle go into the Fortress of Solitude and make the Superman robots strip for them. And they also end up getting drunk and all this other stuff.
I haven't read that one, but it sounds amazing.
Art by Amanda Connor. It is fucking hilarious.
Do we have that one?
We do.
I need to read it.
We do have it.
Pull it out right now.
I also have many copies sitting at the shop because guys were like, the cover is like them like wooing over a male stripper. So they're like, I don't know.
Because it'll make them feel funny.
No, it's Superman.
Pants. Oh, well.
So to them, it's just a boring issue.
If it were Batman now.
It is a funny issue, though. It's just them having fun. And also, Bruce and Clark are having their mandate on the side.
Oh my God.
It's really fucking funny.
I need to read this. Our next shout out goes out to Joshua T, whose Twitter handle is @drips1963.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for your Patreon support.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Nick F, who has 2 Twitter handles. The first one is @Jersey Whisperer, and the second is @Nick's Nerd News 1.
Nick tweeted recently with, quote, "Just finished principal production on my 3rd audiobook. It's my 2nd time up as executive producer / director. Thank you @Etruscan_press for trusting me with your titles, and to the authors at Puchigian, Brady, and Tellerigo for letting me help bring a different life to their art." End quote.
I think that'd be so much fun doing audiobooks.
I've heard many podcasters talk about it because you're already talking into a mic. Right. You have the equipment, you have the software. Why not do it? It's tough work though. You are on a schedule. You have to do X amount of pages per week, and it can be very rewarding. And if the particular, like people like Audible, if readers say, "Hey, I like your voice and I want to hear you read more stuff," then they will actually start calling you to read out some of these things. Ray Porter has been doing that for a little bit as well. So I think it's worth trying out if you can read and kind of put some emotion in some of these things, but it's definitely a time-consuming thing, something that Nick has experience with. I know this is not his very first foray into this, and if you want to check out Nick and ask him questions about not only these audiobooks, but his YouTube channel, once again, it's @Jersey Whisperer, long-time Brocat supporter, and also @Nick's Nerd News 1.
Our next shout out goes out to Julian W, who also has 2 Twitter handles, @Cage023 and @LazyGamingGuys.
And that is Cage with a K. You may have seen him on Discord, and this is once again the greatest Kingdom of Hearts player of all time. He has been streaming recently Final Fantasy XIV on their official YouTube channel. Just search Lazy Gaming Guys, one word.
Next up, we have Antonio A.
Thank you so much, Antonio, for your Patreon support at the $5 tier. We really appreciate it.
It goes a long way.
A Twitter or Instagram that you're active on, definitely let us know. And also Joshua T, if next time you do have a tweet out there, or if you have an Instagram or something else you're more active on, let us know.
Next up, we have Christian, who is @WhiteHispanic58.
Christian retweeted that gamers are already making lewd anime stages on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate using the brand new stage creation feature that has returned to this game.
Of course they are. This level is just boobs.
It actually was an ass.
Oh, okay. So do you like jump down into the ass and that?
No, she's just in the background shaking her ass. Oh, you can climb on it.
Oh my God. I can't. Men.
Well, that's also in theme with Endgame, because people want Ant-Man to go straight into Thanos' ass, as I learned from Scott. So that's, I guess, a thing. I'm just trying to tie it in.
Why are men all about things going up asses, too?
That I don't know about. Like, I've never said shit about... Like, the Ant-Man thing's kind of funny, but I'm also like, I'm not watching Endgame. I don't care.
I'm pretty sure you've talked about things going up asses.
I did talk about diddling, didn't I?
Yeah, yes. And all the time you're like, right up his ass. Like crow gunking.
Oh, crow gunk's amazing, though. You think it's funny, too.
I do, but like, you think it's extra funny.
I think it's just because it's like, remember, you made it funny, where Krogunk was clearly putting his hand up Brock's ass from Pokemon, but you made it funnier where it's like, remember what you like, because it was always when he was hitting on girls.
Right.
And then he would drag them away to God knows where.
Yeah, and you thought it was hilarious. So men clearly can somebody tell me why that is? Just if you know, I'm sure there's like a biological reason, right? Because women never sit around and they're like, yeah, up his ass.
We're all
like,
immature.
I remember after your first UFC, you came back and you told me how he was just trying to get up his ass.
I told I was like, this is kind of gay. Like, I don't know what they invited me to.
Yeah.
And then I remember my friend was like, honestly, this isn't it every month. This is just kind of an off thing. And we haven't seen it like that again. So he was right. But I was suspicious. I was like, are you sure?
Is this just gay porn? Like, what are you showing me?
Pay-per-view? Like, I don't know. Final shout out this week goes out to Eric on Twitter at @eantonofficial.
Eric said, quote, just wanted to give a big shout out to @Cigna and @Cigna Questions. In the past 12 months, I have had 4 surgeries, 2 colonoscopies, and spent a combined total of 2 weeks in the hospital, and all I am liable for is my max out-of-pocket. Cigna has covered $500,000 in medical bills for me, end quote.
I'm really happy that Eric has, I know this has been a long time, rough couple of years for Eric as far as surgeries and visits to the doctors. And thankfully, Cigna came through for Eric, who I've known for many years. Very good guy, very active on Twitter, and also check him out on Instagram, but on Twitter @eantonofficial. Thank you, Cigna, for taking care of one of my friends. And this week, we want to remind everyone that you can leave us a voicemail if you want to ask us a question via audio. There is a link in the description, but otherwise, what is the URL?
Speakpipe.com/thereasonsimebroke.
We are actually working on a very special Snyder Cut episode next week. Hopefully this all comes to fruition, and I never want to promise anything because in the past this stuff has fallen through, but we do want to ask you, using our SpeakPipe link, speakpipe.com/thereasonsimebroke, what does the Snyder Cut eventually releasing mean to you? Why is this important? Why does Warner Brothers have to release this? If you send us your audio question or audio comments with this, we may feature it on that special episode, which will be, I think, one of the bigger episodes for the year. And this is something that you can also use to be featured on the show. If you've ever wanted to be heard on the podcast, use speakpipe.com/thereasonsimebroke. And you don't need any kind of special equipment. Right now on your phone, click on the link, or you can type it in, and from your phone you can record this message.
So that does wrap up our Patreon shoutouts for the week. Thank you to every single person who contributes this and every single week to the show, not just monetarily, but also by leaving us comments on Twitter, reaching out to us on whatever podcatcher you listen to, leaving us a review on iTunes, which helps other people find us.
Before we head into our Dragon Ball Super Broly review and our Brocat block, let's head into the comic book highlight for this week.
This week it's the Previews catalog.
It is the comic book Christmas catalog that comes out every single month. Woo. Giant catalog for $3.99 at your local comic book shop.
They lose money on printing this catalog.
Absolutely, they do. And we went through the catalog and found all kinds of goodies. I've got a full list this time, and I got page numbers. I did my homework this month.
I have 2 sides of a napkin.
Nice. It's a Taco Bell napkin, too.
It sure is. That means it's tiny.
Well, it also means it's amazing, because Taco Bell is great. We'll go back and forth just like last month. I do want to highlight from Image Comics, in case you are a Jason Aaron reader, head on over to page 46, Sea of Stars. It is a new number 1. As we know, with War of the Realms, Jason Aaron is ending his many years in the Thor series. And it sounds like he is going into more creator-owned properties, which we know Image Comics is very good about. And he is coming out with a new number 1, which is the first in an ongoing series titled Sea of Stars.
So while Daniel looks at all the comic booky things, I go straight to the toys. So on page 23 of the back side of the previews catalog, where we have all the merchandise, we have Girls' Night Out Dark Side with flaming eyes.
What do you mean Girls' Night Out? Is this a fanfic?
No, it's just Darkseid in like his little skirt and like a go get him pose, like, yeah, gonna go have a great night with my girls. And then he gets pissed off at the bar and you can tack on flaming eyes.
Is this a statue or a figurine? Okay.
Yeah, it's that big. Remember you were flipping through and you're like, cool, that statue. You probably have it on your
Yes,
list.
I have it on here as well. It is a PVC statue that is going for $69.99, as you said, on page 23. I'm so happy they did a PVC Darkseid statue, and it is perfect. Like, that's like, yeah, that's fucking Darkseid. That's a Darkseid pose.
Girls' Night Out Darkseid in his little skirt and his knee-high boots.
Wouldn't have it any other way. I also want to highlight the Orville, which it has its fans.
It does.
And it's coming out with a 2-issue miniseries on page 104 if you want to see the preview.
Mm-hmm. On page 25, we have Nightmare Before Christmas, little tiny chibi figurines. Did you see those?
Yeah, I saw those.
It had Sandy Claus, and he was just like a little blob. And I was like, blobby Sandy Claus.
Also, we had talked about the Walmart exclusive comics that are being collected for the first time for comic book shops and comic readers. And that is Wonder Woman, Come Back to Me, which is on page 9 of the DC previews. Superman Up in the Sky, which is on page 8, and Batman Universe from Brian Michael Bendis, which is on page 7. The Superman Up in the Sky is by Tom King, and the Wonder Woman is by Jimmy and Amanda.
All great picks. On page 34, we have more Batman the Animated Series figures. So we have Poison Ivy was there, and Mr. Freeze was there, and Killer Croc was there, and somebody else was up here. I don't remember who it was, but they had all changeable hands.
I think it was the Mad Hatter. Mr. Freeze, did you mention Mr. Freeze?
Yes,
okay.
Mr. Freeze. But you could change out all their hands. It was so cool, so they can be in different cool poses.
Yeah, that was on my order too. The Poison Ivy, I really like the Bane too. I'm very tempted on the Bane, but I'm definitely going to get a Poison Ivy to go with our Harley Quinn. Also, Street Fighter Akuma versus Hell is on page 424.
Like actual hell?
Yeah, I think he dies and goes to hell and he starts fighting people. Very similar to the Shredder and Hell TMNT series going on now.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes,
that's
absolutely
amazing. Like, whoever was like, we're going to kill him, and then he's going to fight in hell.
Hell yeah. Godzilla went to hell, and he also fought monsters in hell. Yes. I think it was written by Gail Simone. I'm trying to remember, but he fights the 7 deadly sins, but each sin is a monster.
That's so cool.
Super metal, right?
So metal.
I also have, actually, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Oh, man. On page 45, there's Vegeta doing Vegeta things. I don't remember. There were like a million Vegeta statues. But this one
was a statue.
Oh, yes, it was.
It's the cross-arm ones?
It was on the same page. Maybe they weren't statues. Maybe they were just toys. Whatever. It was, they had a Broly there, but then you also had blue-haired Vegeta. Oh, it was also the page with sexy Android 18.
They're statues.
Yes. Okay. So he's a statue. Anyway, a bunch of Vegeta. He was really cool. Buy more Vegeta.
The Vegeta one that I liked out of that was the one where he's crossing his arms. He's got the blue outfit.
Yes, that's page 89, and it's sexy Vegeta statue. It's right here in my notes.
I'm trying to remember what saga he started wearing that like blue outfit. Was it the Cell Saga or the Android Saga?
I think it was Android, right? Because that's when he was training all the time in the hyperbolic whatever chamber.
Yeah, and he and Trunks were trying to... That's the weird thing about it, because I get that when Cell killed Trunks, he's like, oh, now I know, my son. It's like, you spent a fucking year with him. Like, the writers should have done a better job and said they came out closer as father and son.
The writers should have done a better job for Vegeta's whole fucking life.
That's true. Like, and they shit on him again in that, because Trunks only went there to fight to try to know his father, who he did not know in his current timeline. And even then, Vegeta just treated him as a fighting partner. And I'm like, I get it. It's Vegeta, but for a fucking year? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but you want to talk about character development. How much does he care about his kids now?
Right. And now they fucking done him right.
Right. Like, even in Super, when he went to Trunks' time in his other universe and, like, cared so much about him and making stuff better, gave up all his food for Trunks' people, right? Shit.
Now, here's my question. Does he care more about Bulma or Trunks?
Bulma, 100%.
Right.
Don't even, like, Well, that's not even a question.
Beat the, like, fucking phased Beerus.
Yeah.
Whereas Cell, like, he didn't even do anything to him as angry as he was.
Right.
Although he did kill himself in the Boo Saga when he hugged Trunks and knocked him out and said, take him away, and then he fucking blew himself up. But that's also not,
but
like,
I mean,
it's a great sacrifice, great scene.
That was also for Bulma, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for Trunks.
Yeah, there's going to be more Bulma talk in the Broly movie.
Can't wait. I'm so ready.
In the Marvel section, I actually have one book.
Ooh.
Invisible Woman #1, page 21. Only because I think this is her first solo series, but the cover's by Adam Hughes, who is one of my favorite comic book artists.
On page 55, we have Dougie Jones from Shape of Water, his little guy, and he's like... Rah, rah, rah.
Is it a toy? Is it a poster?
Yes, it's a toy.
It's just like a figurine?
Mm-hmm. But he was right next to some other weird shit, and I was like, oh, there you are, hiding Dougie Jones. How cool is he?
In the IDW section, for any Sonic the Hedgehog readers, Sonic Tangle and Whisper. It is on page 151. So they are now
really
getting...
sexual.
They're two new characters that were introduced in Sonic the Hedgehog, very popular.
Okay.
And now they're getting their own series, rightfully so. The Zero issue just came out Wednesday, which is kind of a recap of everything. It's free through your local comic book shop. And that's kind of the setup to it. If your shop does give you one and you want to sub to the series, definitely let them know if they don't ask you.
On page 57, they advertise Detective Pikachu Mega Constructs. There's like 5 of them, but we get no picture. They just say Detective Pikachu in a cafe.
Yeah, I want to know what that is.
I don't know, but I really wanted to see that. I feel like if I had a picture, maybe I would have signed up to them because it's just a description and $30.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe hopefully soon we'll get some pictures. I don't know.
See, I saw that exact same thing. And I almost added it on here, but I'm like, okay, maybe one of them is Bulbasaur. Nope, all Pikachu. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, well, pass. I also have some variants here. The Wonder Woman #75 variant and also the 74. The 74 is by Jenny Friesen, who does an amazing job. And I was telling you earlier, all her Wonder Womans look like Jennifer Connelly.
Yes.
Not a bad thing. But her Lois Lane also looked like Jennifer Connelly. So I'm like, all right. It's still a great cover.
Right.
But the Wonder Woman 75 is a part of the DC Year of the Villains, which is a full variant initiative that DC is doing. I'm a little bit apprehensive about it, but I know DC has been more retailer friendly than they were, say, 10 years ago or so. But what they're doing is they're doing these cardstock variants. They're still open order, which I'm happy about, but they're doing a $1 upcharge on these particular variants. But the cover itself is made out of cardstock as opposed to the regular paper, which is still high quality, but this is thicker. So I don't know if this is them testing the market to say, can we charge an extra $1 on variants moving forward if we do them all in cardstock? Or if this is how I think it should be, a special thing where, yes, you can get away with the $1 upcharge if it's a once in a while thing, not if you do it every single month. Keep it open order, keep it at cover price. In this case, sure, it's cardstock. What they're doing is the Year of the Villain. They're featuring the whole cover as a virgin art, and it's a close-up face shot of these different villains. And there are different ones here, like Harley Quinn #63 features Harleen Quinzel right on the cover. We have Catwoman #13 by Artgerm, and also Batman #75, which is Bane. Nightwing 62, which is one of the talents from the Court of Owls. Lois Lane has hers with Jenny Friesen. It's not a Year of the Villain, but it's very similar as far as the setup of it. But the other big one is Batman and the Outsiders #3, which is on page 23 if you want to check it out. Features Ra's al Ghul. Hell yeah.
I don't have a page number for this because it was too many pages to count, but Pop Vinyls are scraping the bottom of the barrel
They
now.
have been.
But I didn't realize it was this bad. So they have all the Simpsons, which, I mean, fine, whatever. People probably buy those. But then you have Cheers.
They have Cheers?
Yes. there's Cheers. They have NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Baseball. They have NASCAR. Who's buying NASCAR Pop Vinyls?
All of these are good things. I'm like, yeah, no, still good.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
baseball
not like
mascots?
don't get me wrong. They're scraping, but these aren't it.
They had Wheel of Fortune on there.
If it's the host, okay. But if it's like
Alex
contestants,
Trebek.
yeah, that's fine.
It was the host and Vanna White from Wheel of
Even if you were to tell me like the Unsolved Mysteries guy were on there,
I'd
also buy that shit. Exactly.
Yeah. If they had Chris Hansen.
Come on, Funko. Yes.
Anyway,
To Catch a
there
Predator?
are like 40 pages.
I want a set of
Pops.
To Catch a Predator with like the most memorable Predators.
But then they have Pop Vinyl Pez figurines.
Those don't do well.
Who's buying Pez?
Yeah,
Pop
I don't order
Vinyls?
those from my shop.
It was so stupid.
Another big comic from DC is the sequel to Batman White Knight. We had talked about it, I think, last week, but now it is officially solicited. Batman, The Curse of the White Knight. It is on page 1. So Sean Murphy, it's the same creative team. Sean Murphy is still doing the artwork and the writing.
Something else that I don't have page numbers for, again, because there's too many to count, is that section with all the sexy ladies in it. Because
the anime ladies?
We always talk that there are those sexy anime ladies, right? But every page has a robot on it, too. And not a sexy robot, just a robot.
Just in there, right?
Yeah.
It's like that month where they had Kirby.
So my thing is, why do you have sexy ladies and robots? Like, do robots turn them on, too? Or are they trying to tone down the turning on by including
Not too
robots?
much sexy.
Because they're just like Gundam robots. I was very confused.
One trade paperback that I am getting, it's on page 117. It's called Selling Comics, and it is a collection of essays from different retail shops. And I'm like, you know what? If I get something in here that boosts sales forever, that's worth the price of the trade paperback. And that's something that I'm personally buying. So that's one that I'm very curious about to see what has worked at other comic book shops, because I can't go to every shop in the country to actually see what, and we do try, like whenever we travel, we look up comic book stores, and I do pick up not only things that I personally would like for my collection, but also see what they have. What are they setting up? What's different than ours? What are they carrying What are they carrying that we aren't, that might be working for them?
My next shout out thing that
Previous
highlight, whatever, is on page 127. There's 2 things on here. Did you see the alien surprise mug?
No, that sounds
Oh my
amazing.
God, it was so amazing. So they have 2 different mugs. They have a black one and a white one. And at the bottom is like, the mold is a little alien head, like, ah. So as you drink your coffee, then when you get to the bottom, he's like, ah. And it's called the alien surprise mug.
That's awesome. That's really funny.
I thought he was super cool. And then also on there, and you pointed out the Johnny Bravo ones, but they had all those pins for Nickelodeon shows. And one of them was the Ninja Turtle ice cream bar that you used to go and get from the ice. Like,
Yes.
I remember getting this fucking thing from the ice cream truck. So it's way a throwback.
Let me ask you something. Are the eyeballs, because they were always like bubblegum drops, are they like off center like they used to be?
No, they're not, but they're sparkly. So they're clearly
neat.
different from the rest of the Ninja Turtle pop.
Yeah, I'm getting the 2 of the Johnny Bravos one. I want the ice cream pop, and then I want the one, man, I'm pretty.
They also had Courage the Cowardly Dog ones. Did you see those with that creepy ass? Oh my God, I can't even think about him.
Is it the scarecrow thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That weird, like,
return the slab.
Stop.
Or suffer my curse.
No, I have to go to sleep after this. Stop. I can't. Yes, it's that guy.
You know who would scare him away? Fucking Godzilla.
Hell yeah.
There's a PVC statue on page 26 from the 1991 rendition of Godzilla. And another PVC statue that is on there, and it actually connects with Monster Zero
So
on page
cool.
35. If you want to see both fucking monsters connect, I'm so fucking tempted on these. And these are going to be $69.99 a piece. So they're going to be bigger than your standard PVC statues.
Right, but then you're looking at $140 for both.
For Godzilla fucking fighting Monster Zero?
You
Amazing.
mean Monster Zero winning?
Maybe. Well, not 1991. Fucking Godzilla beats his ass.
Page 128 also had 2 things that I want. They have a DC Heroes nightlight. Did you see that one?
No, I missed that one too.
Oh, it's a little nightlight, and it's got Wonder Woman in the middle, and then Batman and Superman on either side of her, and it says DC Heroes. And I just think Leo needs it.
I'll order it.
Right? It'd be perfect. Like, when he gets older, here you go. Here's your nightlight. They also have Dragon Ball Z plush, like, little hangers, but they're key rings, right? And they're all little plush, cute, adorable things, and I want all of them.
Is it Dragon Ball Super specifically, or
no,
everything?
just DBZ, because you got Cell in there, they got Frieza, you have, I think there was a Mr. Popo, there was a Piccolo,
Nice, Mr.
there was
Popo.
Vegeta, there was Goku. The only thing is you have to buy, like, the full box set, right? Because it's a mystery
sucks.
pack for $6.99. But I will show you these later because they are so cute, and I would just hang them all around the house. They'd go on our Christmas tree.
Maybe it'll be worth carrying at the shop. I'll definitely have to take a look. In the pop section, as you mentioned, There's actually 2 pops that I want to highlight because they are comic shop exclusives, and you can actually take a look at them yourselves. And it is the Spider-Punk from Spider-Verse, Edge of Spider-Verse, that originated in the comic books, and I'm sure we'll see him in the Sony Spider-Man sequel. But you can get that Spider-Punk Funko Pop only through your comic book shop, and also Harley Quinn, which we covered in the past. So if you want to see the Harley Quinn that we had covered, it's once again on page 67.
I'm up to page 130 now. We have Godzilla key rings.
I didn't see those either. Oh, man, I missed out on so much.
Those are the ones where you see like red Craggly Godzilla and blue Craggly Godzilla, but then they have 2 different Monster Zeros. One where he's just like, rawr, and one where he's like, bah.
All right.
And I think they had a Mothra and they had a Rodan, and I don't know. They had everybody in there. I felt like Samuel L. Jackson was there too, but I don't know.
Well, that makes sense. King Kong.
I may have been.
He was the villain in that.
Right, I remember. Okay, so anyway, they were all there, but they weren't just like cool looking versions. They were cute looking versions. And I was like, all these monsters. So I want all of them too. You're going to have to spend a lot of money this month.
It sounds like it. Also, on the D-Stage side, this isn't something that you and I are getting, but it's also exclusive to comic book shops. There are these little statuettes that have done really well at my store, specifically the Disney ones, because we have a lot of cast members, which are Disney park workers that shop at my store. And these are things that you cannot get at Disney World. But in this case, this line of statuettes, we have Phoenix from the X-Men and also Wolverine, which are coming out. They are on page 113. If you want to see them, they are $29.99.
The last things I have are on page 137 and 138 respectively, but they're the little pins again. You have Kingdom Hearts ones, which we don't ever see, but those are really cool. And then you have on the next page, you have Zelda ones.
That's one of my, yes, that was on my list.
The Zelda ones are really cool. I like the Kingdom Hearts ones a lot as well.
It looks like it's a full set of Zelda ones. It's a 4-pin set on page 138 for what looks to be $11. That's actually on my personal buy list. I love the cartridge. It's a little
that was
gold
my favorite one.
Zelda cartridge. The rest of them, like, they're all right, but it's worth just the cartridge one. I'm going to put that on my work lanyard. You had mentioned the Johnny Bravo pins. There's a King Mickey plush from Kingdom of Hearts. It's expensive as fuck. I think it's an import. It's on page 123 for $50. It's only 6 inches tall, but you can take the hood off and you can put it back on. I know Kingdom of Hearts fans will pay for that. Final item I have on my list is the Pac-Man Light, which is on that final page of 138 of the merch portion of the previous catalog. It is $38, and you can have a pixel version of Pac-Man himself light up your room, and it makes arcade noises.
No way. So when you're trying to sleep, he's like waka 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 waka.
I think it's when you turn him on or off. I don't know though.
It'd be better if you were trying to sleep and you just hear waka waka and the lights flickering and you're like, oh shit.
God damn, it's like a Furby.
A new James Wan movie.
Yes.
So that does wrap up our preview catalogs highlights. Obviously, as you can tell, this is not everything in the catalog, right? This is just what we are very excited about and wanted to point out. But pick up one for yourselves. We say it every single month when we talk about it. It is so worth the money.
Here today to add to our mega packed episode of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast. Once again, more content for you. It is our review of Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Hello, monkeys.
The Saiyans will serve my son Frieza and obey his every command.
This movie is directed by Tetsuya Nagime, who's done One Piece Film Z, and written by Akira Toriyama, of course, from Dragon Ball Z.
And this stars Vic Mignogna from Full Metal Alchemist. Here is your credit, Vic. Once again, starring Vic Mignogna. Sean Schemmel from Dragon Ball Z voices Goku, and Chris Sabat from My Hero Academics. My Heroic Academics.
He's from Dragon Ball Z. Calm down. He's Vegeta.
He plays Almighty.
And Vegeta.
And he goes beyond. You saw that. I explained that shit to you.
I did.
In the fucking
Cracks
Almighty
me up
movie.
every time.
It works though. Like, isn't that amazing?
I'm not that strong. I'll just go beyond.
It's so great. Like the show itself from, I'm going on a My Hero rant here, but they're like, we bred these creatures. We've seen you at 100%. We've bred them to be able to handle you at 100%. You can't damage them. Even if you use 100% of your power, you will do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, watch us have to go beyond. And I'm like, what the fuck? How can you? It doesn't matter. Fucking he's going beyond. And he does it again in the movie. It's so fucking good. And Chris Sabat sells it. He really does.
He's the best.
He sounds more like Piccolo when he does Almighty than he does Vegeta.
That's fine.
That's totally fine.
Let him do what he wants.
To anyone new to our movie reviews, the way we format, or at least break them down, is we go through story, acting, and directing and special effects. So 3 columns there.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, should we drop the 5 rating? Should we just do like regular thoughts?
If you want to. I'm
like
just
the
going to
film
give
Exiles
it,
were kind of...
I'm just going to give it a 5, so...
All right.
We'll do it out of Vegeta's.
Because if I'm rating an anime movie based on, holding up against the fountain, everything's going to be less than a 3, like from now until the end of time.
Of course. So yeah, we'll just give our thoughts. That's fine. But I still give it a 5.
So this Dragon Ball Super Broly movie is set after the Universe Survival Saga, and it marks the first in-continuity appearance of Broly in the Dragon Ball Z series, which was a huge thing for a lot of fans.
It's also the highest grossing film in the series, sitting at a bit over 110 million worldwide. They did put this in the big screen, right? You went and saw it through Fathom Events or whatever it was. I was home with the baby.
And the release of this film pushed and really solidified, and people have come out everywhere and said Dragon Ball is the most popular anime to date.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw those fucking statues all day.
But I mean, here's the thing about Dragon Ball Z, and all that kind of stuff, right? So when you're talking to anybody who thinks like you're a weird nerd for liking anime, right? If you mention Dragon Ball Z, it's cool because they've seen it too. If you mention anything else, you're a weird fucking nerd. But Dragon Ball Z is always
That's
cool.
true.
Like, I know a guy who, one of my coworkers, I guess kind of probably thinks is weird too, but he has Dragon Ball Z shoes because he collects shoes.
Nice.
He's like,
Sonic Treasure Hunter has them too.
yeah, I want the Vegeta shoes. I need some Vegeta shoes.
I had a guy that failed at trolling today, and obviously you know that I would know if he's failing.
Of course.
Because he saw all of our statues, and he pointed to one, and he's like, what is this, Yu-Gi-Oh? And I'm like, no, nice try, buddy. I know you know. If you know what Yu-Gi-Oh is, you know what Dragon Ball.
Everybody knows what Dragon Ball Z is. Everybody.
So let's head into the first portion of our review, which is the plot to Dragon Ball Super Broly. Not difficult to improve on the Broly story, but they went above and beyond,
They sure
I think.
did. So for those of you who don't know, the original Broly movie was just kind of like, oh, he got pissed off because when they were both babies, Goku cried a lot, and now he's just angry
And they
all
fucked
the time.
him up for life.
Right. But no, they gave it so much more, right? Like, they gave more personalities to the Saiyans. They made you really feel for them when Frieza shows up and fucking obliterates them. And then, like you even pointed out, they gave a meaning for that little green thing that he wears around his waist. Like, they gave him so much story and so much depth that you're not really rooting for Goku to beat him. You're just kind of like,
and Vegeta.
Right, well, right, okay. But before you were like, yeah, beat his ass, right? Like, get rid of the sand. And this whole time you're like, no, stop it. Like, he's just a kid, really, who needs help and love and understanding.
One thing that I did like about the original portion, like, I know it's a shitty thing to like, oh, Goku kept crying next to his nursery and that made him insane, basically, as a child. But in the lore of the Saiyans, he was always meant to defeat Frieza. But because Goku's existence, which is the one part that's not explained, like, okay, why is he the difference? And he should have been part of the legend, right? But because Goku fucked it all up, by happenstance, Goku ends up being the one who beats Frieza, but it should have always been Broly who fights for his people. And maybe he would have saved this planet. I don't know. But in this case, with this particular movie, there is no ill will against Goku. He is not a part of Broly hating him at all. Instead, what they do is they tie his power level to King Vegeta, who says, my offspring is not weaker than any of these guys. And there's no way that this Broly kid is stronger than my son. Why is he in the same chamber as royalty? And that's when the scientists are telling him, like, he breaks the readings like crazy. And in a move that is, I guess, to satiate his ego, he banishes Broly, a baby, to die off on a planet. And it says, and his father protest, rightfully so, is that he's like, no, you're fucking giving him a death sentence. And he says, well, if he's as strong as you say, he'll live, right? This is a test of a Saiyan. And Paragus ends up betraying his Saiyan planet and says, I'm going to fucking go and rescue my son. But at the same time, you're also seeing Goku's story unfold, who is a runt compared to the rest of the Saiyans. And his father, who doesn't get these psychic powers, or at least they're not demonstrated in this movie like they were in the original show. Instead, he uses logic and says, why is Frieza suddenly putting us together in this planet? Why are we all being hailed from the universe? I think he's going to destroy us. And he comes to this conclusion. And you also see Goku's mom, which is the first time you ever see her in continuity. And she's also, I'm like, that's fucking fascinating. The whole first fourth of the movie made me want 4 movies of just the Saiyan planet.
And the Saiyan culture and what's going on. And, they mention that Bardock doing these things isn't very Saiyan-like, right? Saiyan fathers don't care about their kids, so then why is he doing that? Yeah, I would just watch about Planet Vegeta all day long.
Absolutely. And I thought that was amazing because it's like, and they didn't, again, attribute it to the visions because I know what's going to happen. And he's going to, no, he went, I don't know, I've always destroyed all my life. And for once I want to save something. And he chooses his son. And they also, again, answered the logic question of his mom going, why are you sending him off to this planet by himself? He's going to die. And what if you're wrong? He's like, if I'm wrong, I'll go and rescue him myself. He'll take a ship and go get him. And that's it.
Right.
Like it's risk free.
Right.
But if we die, that's it. So,
like, he's going to die regardless of if I send him off to this planet.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then you also see Vegeta and the Raditz, who were off on a planet, but they make them out to just be little assholes.
I mean, they kind of were little villains, assholes. Right? They came as villains. Yeah, they were absolutely little assholes when they were younger. But you got to think Vegeta, right, because of his father, was told his whole life that he's just better than everybody else. Yes. And you see that play out throughout the show anyway.
And he still kind of believes that.
He's still pretty cocky. Yeah, he's the prince of
all Saiyans.
All Saiyans, absolutely. So that was really cool. I like that Frieza was the villain. I get that people are probably like, we see too much of him. No, let him be in there. He's fucking hilarious. Like, if you're going to keep having somebody come back, let it be Frieza.
Some people have complained that the Dragon Ball Super series, and including this movie, have toned down the seriousness of a lot of these characters. Frieza's main goal of getting the Dragon Balls, by the way, spoiler review, if you haven't figured it out by now, is to have himself be 5 centimeters taller than everything else. I thought it was fucking funny. I don't think
Hilarious.
It was undercutting any of it.
Right. No, and here's the thing that I'll say to that too is throughout all of this, throughout what we've had in the Super Series with Frieza being around more and coming back, I think that it's also showing that they're developing the character of Frieza.
He's endearing as fuck.
He really is. The fact that he's helping to save the universe, but he's still like, I'm going to get these Saiyans. I'm still going to kill Goku because of all this. And, they're just really developing him and bringing more. And I get that maybe he doesn't seem as serious now, but he's still a pretty serious threat, right? When it comes down to it. And just because they can work together doesn't necessarily make him any less of a threat.
Because everything that happened in Dragon Ball Z still counts, this is why he still has motivation to kill the monkeys, as he calls them.
Right.
So he's forever going to want to kill Goku and Vegeta, especially Vegeta, who used to be a general under him.
Mm-hmm. And Vegeta's still going to want to stop Frieza. He even says that in the movie, like, I'm still training because I want to stop Frieza. Because when Frieza comes back, he's still going to be a real threat. And Goku's like, nah, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, Goku. Frieza is still a thing. And, I really hope that someday Vegeta gets what he rightfully deserves. I also loved Bulma's motivation for having the Dragon Balls was to make herself look 5 years younger.
Which explains why she's always maintained her appearance throughout the show.
Right. And I mean, it makes total sense, right? Why wouldn't she do that?
The simple fact that Paragus turns his back on the Saiyan race, which by the time the planet is destroyed, it doesn't matter anyway, he continues living on this savage planet. So the whole thing is whereas in the original movie, they enslave a planet and try to sort of make it Planet Vegeta, but they know it's going to be destroyed anyway, and he's trying to kill his son in the process. Very convoluted and weird. But in this, he's actually trying just to survive with his son. And for years, they are stranded in here, in this planet, toughening up like crazy, to the point where he just trains Broly. He just tries to make him the best Saiyan out there, and in the process cuts off his Saiyan tail, which stops him from becoming the great ape that the Saiyans, when they look at the moon, and that's probably how he lost his eye, just, I guess, like in the original or in the older movie where he kind of elbows his dad. But in this case, yeah, it is them just being stranded, and there's a legitimate thing to all of this. And his whole motivation is, I want to go after King Vegeta. Oh, King Vegeta's dead? And Frieza tells him, yeah, but his son's still alive. Well, fuck him then. Vegeta becomes the center of the plot, not Goku crying. It's not Broly being triggered by Goku or the word Kakarot, and that's how they have to control him via the electrocution. It is him saying, yeah, they did this to my father and I. He needs to pay.
I found it really interesting, too, that his father's such a shitty person, but he still defends him all the way up until the end, right? Even
Broly
when he
does, yeah.
Right. Even when he kind of realizes that his dad's a dick, because we have those two side characters from the Frieza Force, the love interest. You know she's a love interest,
Yeah,
100%. But, you know, even when she's kind of like, your dad's an asshole and I'm going to save you so you can't be electrocuted anymore, because that's kind of a dick thing to do. But he's like, don't talk bad about my dad, because he still
loves him.
Right. He still loves him for all that he's done for him, going after him and protecting him and pretty much being his only companion for his entire life.
Especially after his dad shot the monster on the planet that Broly was making friends with.
Bah.
Yeah, and he shot the ear off, and the ear is what he wears around his waist. So they even get, like, that's the perfect symbolic representation of this is fucking character improvement.
Well, even something you pointed out is that they explain why his hair is green, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do it very subtly. When Vegeta is turning Super Saiyan, he first goes into that green and then the Super Saiyan color. Whereas Broly, at his base form, non-Super Saiyan, can still throw down with Super Saiyan God forms. And then as he goes up, he very slowly progresses as far as the forms, but the power level is so fucking high. So before he hits that Super Saiyan level, he has that green tint, and then finally at the end, you see him in that Super Saiyan level, but that's how they explain the color. Like, they really thought this through. And I think that's Akira Toriyama maybe taking this original story and saying, well, let's flesh this out some.
Right, or let's fix our mistakes.
It worked out really well, and he's such a popular Saiyan character.
Yeah. There were some hilarious moments. Frieza still doing things to try and manipulate people, right? Get his way.
Great plot point to where, hey, Broly's losing against Vegeta and Goku, mainly Goku, and he says, he remembers, oh, when I killed Krillin, that triggered him. So who does Broly care about? His dad fucking murders him. I thought that was kind of a shitty way for Paragus to go, but it was so funny when he just turns around and acts in front of Broly.
Broly, a stray beam killed your father.
Oh, Broly, the tragedy.
The tragedy.
And that triggers him and he goes fucking Super Saiyan.
Right.
Amazing. Again, Frieza, he's the best part of this movie.
He is. And even at the end when he leaves, he's like, oh, I guess it's time to go. I'll be back. And like he flies off.
He's like, yeah, we'll get Broly later.
Yeah, whatever. We can track him. We'll come back.
So, yeah, the story is great. Let's talk about the shots that they had in the movie, the directing. I'm sorry, the acting, the voice acting.
Before we skip, I forgot one of the best parts of the story is when they fusion.
Oh, Goku and Vegeta?
Yes, when they become Gogeta or whatever. Hilarious. I thought it was a great passage of time, too, because now we see that Frieza fought Broly for an hour. Is what happened, and how, like, fucked up Frieza was. And then Whis had to step in, which was...
That was so fucking
amazing,
good.
And I wish we had gotten more of that, but it was only, you know, a minute, maybe, of what we saw of that before they came back and kicked Broly's ass.
The theater lost their shit.
Yeah.
Because then you don't expect it. Like, oh, it's like, oh, right, Whis is watching all of this. And then it cuts to Broly trying to swing at Whis. And Whis is like, ooh, that was a close one. It's like, clearly you could fucking destroy him.
Right. Right. And then, of course, I did really like how it ended where they just used the dragon and transported him back to his planet. And his two new friends are like, we're just going to hang out here with you now.
Yeah, she really cared about, like, I like that they didn't lean into it as like a love thing. Like, you can interpret that, but... She had huge pity for him. So she was like, no, they're going to kill him. When Goku and Vegeta transform, it's a no contest when they fuse.
Right.
they're way stronger than Broly. He's not adapting at that point. He has reached his max.
Well, yeah, because they're fused in God form too. Like, forget about it.
Wasn't it instinct or was it just God?
No. I thought Goku went instinct, but they only fused in God because
Yeah, that
Vegeta
might be
can't
right.
go instinct.
He can't? Oh, wow.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but they're destroying Broly and they're about to kill him. And then she ends up saying, that's the form of, I think that's where you were pointing out, like maybe Vegeta's more in control. And once they go for the killing blow, it's like, yeah, maybe, because I don't think Goku didn't want to kill him.
No, Goku just wanted to fight him. And he's like, wow, you're strong. Let's be friends.
And when he freezes him, when he's in his instincts form, he's like, I don't think you want to fight. And he's like, I don't want to, pretty much telling him, I don't want to hurt you. But then that's when I think that Vegeta portion of him, it's like, no, they're going to fucking kill him.
Well, they have to.
And that's when she teleports him back to the planet, and that's kind of the end of the movie.
But I did love how hilarious the fusion was, where Vegeta's like, no, I'm not doing that stupid dance.
And then he guilts him into saving Bulma and his daughter. And as they're still trying, he's like, I'd rather Broly kill me.
Just the right amount of humor. It was great.
As far as the story, was it smart for them to keep Broly alive?
I think so. I think because he's such a popular character, right? And they made you feel so much for him. Like I said in the beginning, the whole time I didn't want Broly to die. I was like, no, it's his father's fault that he's so fucked up, right? And this kid seriously has issues. He just needs someone who understands him. He just wants to be peace and quiet. I'm sure coming to Earth was extremely overwhelming for him because he's seeing so many more people than he ever did in his whole life.
I know it's a little bit different that we're now talking about the acting in the film, the voice acting, but as far as anime, there wasn't anything out there that was a line that I said, no, that didn't really work. Everything was well. They're just reading off the localized script and they were on point. These are all very seasoned voice actors.
Frieza was very into it.
Yes. Frieza was the best. So there we go. All around. Story, animation.
Oh no, Broly.
I believed it.
I believed it 100%.
Let's go into what is probably one of the more focused on portions of the movie, what I saw a lot of people tweeting about, which were the special effects. Like, yeah, there's some directing portions which very much tie into it. And I think I like the movie and I'm really happy I bought it. I'm going to keep watching it many more times. But I think they experimented a little bit too much with the animation.
I agree. The part that was the most rough were the fighting scenes. So a lot of them look like something out of the video game.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the caveat right there. When they went into CG.
Yes. And it felt like they were doing that to save time, to be cheaper. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but it really pulled away from the story and what they were trying to do.
When they switched over was when they had then reached a different plane, like when time stopped and they were hitting, like they were fighting each other in between time, essentially, is what they were, because the whole universe kind of shatters.
Right.
And that's when you see time kind of stop and you hear no noises and all that. That's when they went into CG. And I know why it's to represent a whole nother level of it, but to me, it didn't work. It looked rough. It felt like the screen, and I know it's comparing it to a video game, but the frame rate was lacking, where you see them kind of skipping frames and it looks kind of weird when they do the first person thing where they're punching him and you see the arms kind of going out at Vegeta and them, and it doesn't look right. And I appreciate that they were trying to do something. They were trying to go above and beyond with this feature, and I get it. But I wanted the animation to match what we saw on Planet Vegeta. I don't know if you noticed, but Planet Vegeta looks exactly like Dragon Ball Super. As soon as Broly lands on the planet with Frieza, you see the character animations and the characters change completely. Vegeta and Goku's faces are way more elongated. The animation is very different. So I think that was a whole different studio that then handled the movie from there. And I did not like that as much. I liked portions of it. I thought many fighting scenes were amazing. The scene in which Goku is doing the Kamehameha and then it cuts to Vegeta doing the big bang attack, I think is what it's called. Back to back, and they both fired off. Amazing. Great stuff, right? But most of it I thought looked rough, especially when they tried to stylize the characters a little bit too much.
I didn't like where they went into the center of the earth in the lava.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I was like, can they survive in lava? We've never seen this before.
That wasn't my issue. It just didn't look right.
I mean, it didn't look right either, but can they survive in lava?
Yeah.
Apparently.
They're Super Saiyan God instinct, something rather. It's fine. It's not a huge deal, but Yeah, I don't know. Like when they try to bite off more than they can chew, I think
Right.
that's a little. And maybe most people did like that stuff because I did not see very many people complaining about it.
It was frustrating to me, but at the end of the day, I still felt it was a good movie. So
Yes.
I'm not going to complain about it too much because, yes, I didn't like those portions, but it wasn't like it killed the movie for me
Right.
because everything around it was still so good. The voice acting was so good. The story was so good. The way that they made you really care for the characters, all the characters, even Frieza, right?
Yes.
All of these things were so good and so well put together that those small infractions really didn't dampen the experience.
Yeah, because this movie wasn't about the fight scenes. It was about these characters and the storyline.
Yes.
So that's why those, because they were so strong, it more than made up for some of the scenes that were a little bit too much.
And we can't forget about Beerus watching Bola the whole time.
Babysitter Beerus.
Which was fantastic because even that was character development for Beerus, right? Because when we
Yes.
first saw him, he was this asshole just trying to destroy the world.
Slapping Bulma around.
Right, and now he's just chilling with a baby because Bulma's gotten to the point that she has them all wrapped around her finger.
But no, Kelly.
But they've become family to these guys, right? Where she's okay. She saw the opportunity to go on an adventure and she's like, "Here's my kids. See you later. Bye." Like, I'm going to take some time to myself.
But no, he does it only for the food.
Only for the food.
You're so
No.
full of shit, Beerus. Can someone make a Twitter account, Babysitter Beerus?
Yes.
They just every day update it. Like, oh, this Bola human. So overall, where does this sit on your Dragon Ball favorite movies? Or even just stories? Because I don't know if you've seen all of them, but...
I don't think I've seen all of them. We saw the Resurrection of F, which was pretty good, except that Vegeta didn't win. But
No, but
whatever.
he fucking damaged the shit out of
I know.
Beerus way more than the show did, because they redid it in the show.
I'm talking about Resurrection F with the Frieza.
Oh, you're right. That's the second one.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, I did like the one with Beerus, too. That one was great. I liked when they developed it a little more in Super, but whatever, continuing forward. It was really good. It was, I think out of those three, for me, the story was the most solid. And I think part of that was because they built so much off the previous one. Because I remembered the previous one and still being like, why'd they do all this shit, right? But now there's a reasoning behind all of it. So it shows they really put some time and some care into these characters in this story.
Yes.
And Vegeta didn't get shit on, so
Right.
that's a win.
Most importantly. Yeah, you summarized it perfectly. I know that a lot of people have been saying they improved on the Broly story, and I get it. That's not hard to do, but they did it really well.
Mhm.
Like, they could have just done the minimum, and it
It's-
would have been improving it,
it's
but
like-
they did it so good.
It's like they put major thought into every single decision. There wasn't there wasn't a single loose end. I didn't
Right.
feel. Though there was a single loose end where you could have gone, well, why this? Or, well, why that?
Right. The only thing that I would, and it's not a loose end, but it's me curious as to what they're going to do later on is, okay, so they kept Broly alive, who clearly doesn't want to fight,
Mhm.
and his father's dead, so maybe there's no reason for him to continue. If they utilize him as a character that refuses to fight in the future, but will resort to it to protect those he loves, just like he did it with his father, then yeah, they can continue to bring him
Mhm.
back. They even explain that the reason he's so strong is he's adapted himself to tap into that monkey form in his regular form. Like he's just the legendary Super Saiyan, right? So they've thought of everything
Oh,
as
yeah.
they were doing this Broly movie. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, absolutely,
Oh, 100%.
it is you have to watch this.
Mhm. I agree.
And I want a Planet Vegeta trilogy.
Movie. I would love that. I think that would be so good. You
Le-
know what people really wanted talking about Planet Vegeta? They
Yeah.
really wanted Vegeta to go to the other universe and go to Planet Vegeta on the other universe.
That'd be good too.
That'd be great.
I did like that Bardock, and this is why I wanted more of this, is they still show him trying to stop
Mhm.
Frieza's blast. In the original show, he sees the vision, and that's why he tries to stop Vegeta along with an army of people, but it speaks volumes to him that they kept that in there, because he doesn't have
Right.
the visions. He sees that maybe they fought. I don't know. Like, I want that scene to play out in this
Mhm.
version of Dragon Ball.
Hopefully we'll get that. I don't know. I feel like with Super, they really improved on what they have already built, and they're just continually doing so. So hopefully, yeah. I mean, obviously 110 million. There's a market there.
Yeah, cannot wait. Let's head into our final part of the show. So this is our Brocab block.
Our news for the show is all over. This is just what happened with Daniel and I this week. So if you care to know what's going on in our lives, which you should, because we're awesome, but that will be the remaining portion of the show.
Yeah, very personal part of the show now. No more news, no more comics or any of that. But we do want to say that if you are going to MegaCon here in Central Florida, we are going to keep plugging this away. We are going to have a post-MegaCon meetup on Friday, May 16th at the Ale House on International Drive at 9 p.m.
Also, if you attend the show, you get a Brocat Core pin if we see you.
Yeah, you have to be wearing a The Reasons I'm Broke t-shirt to get the pin. But if you come to the MegaCon post meetup at Ale House, don't have to have a shirt on, but if you come out to the Ale House meetup, you will get a pin for attending. So huge things. Even if you've gotten one before, you get a second, third, whatever it may be.
Just all the pins.
That's right.
If you buy Daniel a drink, extra pins.
Yeah, as far as my personal life, I obviously got over the cold. Nothing huge as far as that. The cold did not last that long.
You Batman'd your way through that bitch.
With your help.
For my personal life this week, as I mentioned last week, I got a new job, right? So this is my last week at my current job. Counting the days, I have senioritis real bad. People are like, Kelly, can I do this? I'm like, fuck, I don't care. It's my last week. Do what you want, right? Or my peers will be like, what do you think if we change this? I'm like, I don't care what you guys do. But here's my thoughts on why that wouldn't work. Like, I'm still doing my job,
FYI.
right? And I really think I'm doing my job better than I have been because now I'm happy.
That's important, though.
That is. I mean, being happy is a huge part of being successful and where you are. So, like I tell people, it's scary, right? Leaving your job. But if you're not happy, why keep doing it? Find something else. Be happy.
Yeah, it definitely reflects on everything you do if you're not happy. So
100%. On a more somber note, and I put this up on Twitter as well, we lost our family dog this week.
Not AC.
Not Ace. But my parents' dog. So she was more so their dog than mine, right? But she'd been with us for 11 years, 12 years. Very long time. She had been sick for a long time. But she was surrounded by family when she passed. It was naturally and not with, a vet or anything like that. So we spent a lot of time together as a family and reliving moments with her and with our other dog and just really being there and supporting each other. Because to anybody who's lost a pet, they are a member of the family. And
yes.
It's extremely hard knowing you're going to wake up tomorrow and they're not there, right? So it's been difficult, but we know that she's not suffering anymore, which is the best that we could hope for, right? So
yeah, I especially enjoyed the closure that you gave Lucy because it connected with your previous pet that you were extremely close with, which is Abby, another beagle, which was your first dog, right?
Yeah, so Abby was the first dog, and I think I talked about her on the show, right? It was several years ago that she passed away, but because she was such a big part of my life and my dad's, we weren't in a place where we felt that we could bury her and leave her in one spot. So she was cremated. She's sat in a box on the dresser for 3 years now.
In your living room as well, like with you guys, like at the home with you guys. Yeah.
I mean, she's been at the house. So when we made the decision that we were going to bury Lucy rather than cremate her, we buried her up on my parents' new property that they're going to be moved to. Then we felt that it would be fitting to sprinkle some of Abby's ashes there. So now we have both dogs in one place. We got that moment where we relived those memories with Abby as well. And then we planted some of their favorite plants above them so that, they would always jump in. Liriopes is what they're called, but they would always jump in them when they went out into the front yard because that's where the lizards were and they were trying to catch the lizards. And, not that this was a sign, right? But Abby's favorite thing was a squirrel. And up in the tree above her where we buried her or sprinkled her ashes, there was a squirrel running through it as we were, going through that process. So, it got closure for both of them, right? And then it just felt like the right time to kind of really say goodbye to Abby as well, because she was there with Lucy and they had grown up together. They had been together for 10 years before Abby passed away. And So, it's hard. It's really hard because I loved both of them so much and they were such a big part of my life. And, I posted in that tweet, there will always be a dog-sized hole in my heart because they were so important. But you continually love. I love AC just as much as I've loved either of them, and I will continue to love her after she's no longer here. And any future dogs that we have, I will love them just that much because having a dog, having a pet is so vitally important. It just makes your heart grow bigger and makes every day a little bit brighter. And even though you have those horrible, shitty moments when they're gone, she spent 11 years, Lucy spent 11 years making us happy. Abby spent 14 years making us happy and making us so incredibly happy. And we look back on the videos and the pictures, and we were remembering Abby used, growing up, obviously I got her when I was younger. She used to sleep in my bed every night. And every night she would get cold and go and stand at my head and go until I lifted up the covers for her to crawl underneath. And she found a snake in the yard once and killed it so that it wouldn't come into our house and hurt any of us. And she would go to our doors every night to make sure that we were all safe. And one time she found a locust in the backyard and smeared its blood all over the back window, but there are these moments and you remember them and you just love them for the rest of your life. And I'm happy that Lucy got to love us for her entire life.
Yeah, I think that everyone with not only just a pet that they may have lost, but anyone who's experienced true loss can relate to, what we've gone through several times. Everyone's gone through several times in their lives. And Lucy, what I always remember is, you got her very shortly after you and I, met, and a beautiful, cute dog, very cute dog. I think they described her as like a pocket beagle, very tiny for a beagle.
She looked like a puppy her whole life.
Yeah, beautiful dog and always never aggressive, at least with any of us. Very caring dog. And it definitely hurt to see her in her last couple of days. It all hits when you actually say goodbye to the pets and see them. And I'm glad that I was able to be there and that your family was great in having me there as well during the burial, and got to pet her one last time as she was getting put together with Abby, who was her mom. And so it's not the last time we'll go through this, and everyone else is just a matter of getting through it and remembering those times that we had. And as you said, it's a very tough time that you and your family and everyone that knew Lucy, including myself, are going through. So, but it's all worth it for the many years that you had Lucy and every other friend and family member in your life. It is never not worth it based on the pain. It is the 11 plus years. It is the journey that makes it worth it, not the end.
And I heard it described very well one time, is that the pain is there because they were so wonderful for so long. And that's why it hurts so much, right? To say goodbye and know that she's not there, but for me to have that comfort that she's not suffering, because her last days were really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard when she finally got to that point. And they were really hard for Abby too. And you just get to a point where, and I said it to both of them the day before. I just, I went and I spent time with them and I said, if you need to go, it's okay. We'll be okay. And knowing that it's going to hurt me, but it's better for them. Yeah. Not that they understand it because they're dogs, but
they do though. They understand so much.
They do. They really do. So, that's what my family's going through. Very personal, depressing note. Sorry that we went there.
Yeah, no, I think that gives it, heavier meaning to our sign off today. It's not always 100% happy, but it's a bittersweet moment. So, Brocat Core, as always, thank you so much for staying this long. If you stick around for the Brocat block each week, we know that you do. If you made it this far, you care about the personal lives that Kelli and I go through. And if you don't, that's fine. News, comics, that's all there to help us get through these moments.
And a giant thank you to everyone on Twitter who sent condolences. It really means a lot that, you guys care and want my family to pull through this.
As always, Brocat Core, I am Gambler Daniel.
And I am Emperor Palpa Kelli.
All will be well.